Just got home from church. Wonderful experience at church today. I wanted to share a few thoughts. Number one, Drew was at church today. That was amazing. The closing song in a sacrament meeting was Abide With Me 'Tis Eventide. And I just felt a rush of emotion thinking about living back in Jesus' time, or living now, and night coming on, which is a season of darkness, a season of trial, of difficulty, and wanting and begging for my friend and my Savior Jesus Christ to stay with me, to not forsake me going into that period of darkness, of time, of struggle before the light breaks again. Really tugged at my heartstrings, and I wanted to come home and play it on the violin, which I'll probably do shortly. A couple other things. There was a story shared by Greg McClanahan in Sunday school about a taxi driver who in New York City pulled up to a stop, usually honks once or twice. If the person doesn't come out quickly, leaves, but felt impressed and was also just a kind person. And he went up to the door and just to explore if someone needed his help. There was a 91-year-old woman that was very thankful that was making her way to the vehicle. When she got in, she asked if he could take her through the city on the way to her destination. And he said, "Well, that's the longer way. Are you sure?" And she said, "Yes, I'm sure. I'm going to hospice, and I don't have any family left." And she was going to her last place that she was going to die at, under the direction of her doctor. So this taxi cab driver drove her around the city for 2 hours. She showed him places where she grew up. She showed him places where she met her husband. She showed him places where she worked for many years in a building as an elevator operator. And finally, she was getting tired, and she thanked him sincerely for spending that time and letting her see those sights one more time. And he said, on short reflection, there's no more important thing that I did in all my life than to honor that woman's life in that final act of kindness and service to her. How many times are we faced with or confronted with or given the opportunity to serve in a special way that we might overlook because we're not humble, meek, kind, tenderhearted? And how much joy can we receive by being kind and slowing down and being thoughtful and opening ourselves up to just incredible experiences with other people, by trying to live close to and listen to the impressions of the Spirit that can come into our thoughts and our hearts. Finally, I thought today about Alma. We've been studying Alma in the Book of Mormon. I thought about Alma the Younger. Alma the Younger went and just astonishing what happened. Alma the Older, the father, was a priest in wicked King Noah's court, who listened to the testimony of Abinadi before he was burned at the stake, and he was the only one that said, "Wait a second, this is true." And he fled the king's court because they were going to come after and kill him after he said, "Hey, wait, maybe we shouldn't burn this guy." He goes out and he hides, and he starts preaching what Abinadi preached. And many people got baptized at the Waters of Mormon, which is the namesake for the Book of Mormon. They became a people. They went through tribulation. They united with the people of Zarahemla eventually. And then his own son, Alma's own son, became a fierce enemy to the church, together with the sons of the king of Mosiah. Two of the most important righteous men, King Mosiah and Alma, during this period. Their sons both combined together and were preaching against and trying to destroy the church. Alma, the father, had so much faith that he prayed, and then an angel visited his son, had a miraculous conversion experience, and the four sons of Mosiah, and they completely changed their life, and they became even more devout in their preaching for the gospel. The four sons of Mosiah went on missions to the Lamanites, converted thousands and thousands of the Lamanites. They became the most righteous, the most happy in all of the Book of Mormon, changed their name to Anti-Nephi-Lehi, prostrated themselves on the ground to be slaughtered when their brethren, the Lamanites, came out to war against them, because they'd already buried their weapons of war as a covenant to show God that they would not murder and they would not sin anymore. Just incredible. None of these things would have happened if Alma, the father, had not had the faith to pray for a miracle for his son and the four sons of Mosiah. And it occurred to me today as I was reflecting on that perhaps he would not have had that confidence and faith to pray for that miracle if he hadn't had the miraculous conversion he did as a wicked priest in King Noah's court, hearing the prophet Abinadi, having been pricked in his heart and plucked up out of that environment and preserved, and became a great man of God. So we too can have the faith and the confidence in the Lord that many, 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 many thousands of people's lives can be blessed because of our faith, our small and simple things, simple acts done on a regular, consistent basis that can move mountains, that can change the eternities for many thousands of people. We must believe that's possible, and do the things that would qualify us for the Lord's help. And those are some of my thoughts from church today.